240-41. But first, a BBC Essex exclusive, the row over a new burlesque club opening in Chelmsford. Is it demeaning for women or just a bit of harmless fun?
You're listening to Sadie 9. Call 0300 200 40 41. Tweet at BBC Essex. Text 81333 and start your message with Essex. BBC Essex.
Very good morning to you. 7 minutes past 7 if you've just joined us. Where the hell have you been? I've been here for an hour. Now, burlesque dancing, it's become a bit of a bigger thing in the past few years. You may have seen me on my Facebook page actually learning to burlesque dance with a whole crowd of women. It was great fun. Well, it can be a type of exotic dancing which can involve stripping. It didn't with me and the ladies, I can tell you that. The first burlesque club, called Club Tantalise, is coming to Chelmsford very soon. So is it exploitation or is it art? Nazmel is the man behind the Club Tantalise, joins me now in the studio. Morning to you, Naz.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming in, appreciate that. So why do you want to open a burlesque club?
Well, it's burlesque is something that's recently there's been a resurgence of the performing art, as I'd like to describe it. It's something that dates back to the 17th century. It's wildly popular across Europe, and it's something that is a fantastic thing to watch. Unfortunately, we only see the bigger shows in London, and there's not anything currently accessible in Essex anywhere, and certainly not at an affordable price, which is why myself and my business partners have looked at putting something into Chelmsford. Being the centre of Essex, we wanted to put something together which would draw a crowd into the Chelmsford nightlife. And
who do you expect to visit? Who are you aiming it at?
Well, we've done a bit of market research, and we've identified that the art is actually appealing to so many different age groups. Being in the nightlife industry, you know, we're aiming at people that are over 18, of course, but we're well aware that it's attracting audiences into much older age groups.
And is it going to be men and women, or is this like a man's club?
Oh no, this is accessible to everybody. Right. You know, women are more than welcome. And what we've learned is that a lot of the burlesque shows attract a lot of women.
Because you get them in France, don't you? You've got them at the Crazy Horse Moulin Rouge, stuff like that. And I went to a friend's birthday party. He had a burlesque dancer there, but she didn't take any clothes off. Will this involve stripping?
Well, we don't actually. The venue itself doesn't have a strip license.
Right.
Now, you've mentioned Crazy Horse, which I'm sure if you've even seen some of the clips on YouTube, it's a fantastic and amazing show. There's a lot of shadow dancing. They spend a lot of money on lighting to create a phenomenal effect when it comes to the performance. And this sort of thing is what we'd like to recreate. Obviously, we don't have the same budget as Crazy Horse, unfortunately.
We'll have a go there. And is it going to be confined to being on the stage, or are we talking about girls coming out, lap dancing? What are we talking about?
No, as I said, we don't have a lap dancing license. What we are looking to do is it's a table seating environment. So we're offering something where people can come in, sit down, enjoy the music, enjoy the show, and have table service with their drinks and food.
Right. So they'll be able to eat as well. So it is a dining as well.
Yeah, we're looking at some sort of dining. We're not looking at gourmet meals, obviously, but nibbles, light bites, early part of the evening. Yes.
Could it, because you do run gentlemen's clubs as well, sort of lap dancing and so on and so forth, but could it turn into that if the burlesque doesn't take off?
Well, we don't have any immediate plans for it. And there's nothing to say that even if we were to apply for a licence that it would be granted. There is obviously another venue in town that does cater for that. Right. And it was our objective to put on something that was far more entertainment based with this project.
Because I watched the London. It wasn't Sunday night. It was the London Palladium, Variety at the London Palladium, and it was. I couldn't believe that we are right back into the Bruce Forsyth sort of days. So is it making a comeback? Thank you very much indeed, Naz. Let's bring in Natalie Collins. She's part of the Essex Feminist Collective, and listening to that conversation. Morning to you, Natalie.
Good morning.
So Natalie, are you happy about this? This is sounding like just a cabaret thing using burlesque.
Well, I would say it's a Trojan horse to be able to open a club which involves some form of stripping while not having to get a stripping licence. And actually what you find is where clubs are denied a stripping licence in parts of the country, they then open as burlesque clubs or transition to be burlesque clubs. So I would say, cynically, of course, that it's interesting that Naz doesn't appear to be somebody who's kind of worked in the burlesque world. He's somebody who works in the stripping world and the sex industry and has branched out into burlesque, which suggests to me there's probably a more stronger link between those two things than maybe is first being presented.
So would you be happier if it was just burlesque, if the licence was it's burlesque, it's no stripping, it's no lap dancing? Because I did burlesque just as a training thing with some ladies, and they do a burlesque keep fit class, and it was hilarious and it was wonderful. I did it for a radio piece. I loved it. So we've been a bit of a killjoy if we say that others can't enjoy that.
Well, I mean, you can do pole dancing exercise classes. So I think the fact that exercise classes exist in that kind of genre doesn't necessarily prevent it having a different meaning. I mean, burlesque originated in Victorian times, as Naz said, and actually the purpose of it was to be parodying, to be making a mockery of a system which was very prudish, actually, and striptease kind of came in the 20th century. And what I think my concern really is that we now live in a highly sexualized society. So when you see women taking off their clothes to some degree, and it will be, you haven't asked him, it'd be great to hear from him whether there's going to be men dancing or whether this is going to be purely about women dancing, because, there's already a power dynamic at play there. And I think we just have to look at the fact that we live in a society that's very different from the Victorians, where sexualization of particularly young women is very high. And so the context isn't one in which it's parodying or funny. It's actually just reinforcing existing cultural norms.
Right. So if men were taking part, would that be more acceptable?
Well, I think it would be an interesting question, because there are men who do burlesque, but it's generally for about women dancing, and women dancing down to very kind of almost nudity. And so I think that for me, I would want to know that. I mean, I don't think it would necessarily change my opinion, but I think it would be an interesting question to ask.
Right. Well, let's ask, actually. So, Naz, are you planning on having men doing burlesque? You get a different audience, I think, maybe. You get screaming women in there. Hey, get them off, because they can be terrible.
Listen, everyone that comes in is a customer. The entertainment that we're bringing in is hired in. So it's not like we're not holding auditions and recruiting women specifically. We will be using various different agencies that provide burlesque dancers. And as I said, even with Crazy Horse, which is something that we strive to emulate, they use male burlesque dancers as part of their routines.
Right.
And so there's absolutely no reason why we wouldn't do that as well.
Well, that would be an interesting one. So Natalie, your suggestion has gone down all right, actually.
There we go. Here I am influencing the type of dancers they make. I think, one of the other things that's worth questioning is around workers' rights, because all strip clubs don't actually employ dancers. Dancers kind of pay to have a place where they then perform. And so it's very hard to have workers' rights if you're constantly self-employing dancers. So I think there are some ethical questions around and often dancers are paying for a pitch and they have to do a certain amount of dancing before they actually make any money. So I think there's those kind of questions as well. Right.
Well, Natalie, we'll leave it there with you. Thank you very much indeed. So are these going to be sort of employed a lot through agencies, as you say, or you taking them on as staff? Will they get paid?
Well, the problem with us taking them on is that we're not choreographers. The acts that we're looking to put on are of a high quality, who generally have the burlesque experience in terms of their performance.
So these like artists that you're going to be employing?
Absolutely.
And will you be employing them, or will they be like, will you have to do so many dances?
They're on a contract basis. We're paying them to come. We're paying them to come in and perform.
Well, that's great.
Just like we would with any other entertainment. In a nightclub, you may pay for a DJ to come in who performs.
So, through an agent.
And it works on exactly the same basis.
Thank you very much indeed for coming in. Nazmel, the man behind Club Tantalise. I'll be honest with you, I'm not keen on the name. Only in the thing that somebody tantalises sex, isn't it? Whereas if it was Club Burlesque, I would probably, as a woman, think, I might have a look at that. But Club Tantalise, nah.
Well, I think... to be honest, it wasn't something that struck me as fantastic when I first heard it. It has grown on me. And the more and more I do with the business...
Club Fantalise and get them to use their fans.
Well, the signs haven't gone up yet, so...
Well, think about it.
You may have just renamed a burlesque club.
Well...
and you can lay claim to that.
And I would probably have a little look. Thank you very much indeed for coming in to join us. Let's find out what's happening on the roads where you are. If you're out there travelling...